Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Brody Even Talk Pinball with special guest Taylor Reece from This Flippin Podcast. I'm Nick Lane.
I'm Taylor.
Kevin Manny.
And you get a little start time, a little face time. I mean, I know you broadcast on Twitch, but This Flippin Podcast, everyone probably knows the voice, but they don't know the face, so makes it special for them.
Yeah, it's a special moment for me too.
It's the man behind the microphone, and we're live from Allentown, beautiful Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Beautiful comfort suites.
Hotel room.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful hotel room.
Not just for hookers anymore.
It still is, but it's not.
Not exclusively. I saw some non-hookers here, so it's cool.
So why are we in Allentown right now?
We're at Pinfest 2016. And it's I would say a major pinball show is fair to say.
Oh, yeah,
I actually heard somebody say that this is busier than Texas Pinball Festival, which might cause some controversy. I heard somebody say that. I've not been to Texas Pinball Festival, but it was super busy today, and I've been in this is my third year here in a row. And for Friday, it was packed, man. It was the crowds were pretty deep.
It was packed. Like, this was a Saturday crowd.
Totally.
Kids were out of school. I mean, right? I mean, like, there are a lot of kids.
It's a good reason
pulled out of school.
Sacrifice your child's education. That's cool.
Yeah, I kind of rolled in midday, and it was like I've never been here before, so I don't know like how it compares with past years. But yeah, it seemed like just the rows and rows of pinball machines. I was like, wow, this is a serious show.
So since we're on the road, we're in Allentown. It's Friday. We've got one more day of this. We're gonna kind of talk about the Pinfest, talk about the show, get everybody's impressions of it. We're going to talk about some Ghostbusters, because I think we've all gotten to play it a decent amount. Kevin, also, I just heard you played Rob Zombie.
I did.
Did you play that too?
There's photographic evidence of me playing it.
I played Rob Zombie as well. I did not play it for very long. You hit a crowd.
I had a pretty good game, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not get a multi-ball started.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of those games, like, you really get a show once a multi-ball starts. Like, even like on Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Which is a great... it's solid.
The storage facilities, multi-ball start is really good.
Yeah,
I love this. I love playing games like that at the show where there's a line, and like I was having a good game, and the guy behind me was complaining, and his buddy's like, "Well, they're good players." It's like, listen, you can play this long too if you like practice a little bit at pinball. Like,
no. You know what I like doing is when you're at a show and there's a line behind you, and you have a really good game, and then you finish your game and you walk away like really nonchalantly, and then it asks for your initials. And then you have them move out of the way so you can put your initials in. It's like, hold on, I'll drop my initials right now. I did that on Ghostbusters.
Dude, every time like the dude behind you, doesn't matter who he is, he's just pissed off.
Breathing down your neck all the time,
Yeah.
I had a good game on Swords of Fury. Imagine that too. There was a Swords of Fury set up at one of the booths. And I was like, I'll play it.
You're just showing off though. You know that game. You have that game.
I do, but my game, like, I've been playing it for the past 3 days, and I have not hit the jackpot once. It's like so freaking hard. It's like, but I'm like, I can do this. I can hit this stupid jackpot, and I've done it before. Yeah. And I was like, all right, let me try this one and see how it plays. And I hit the jackpot like 3 times in one game and got my name up on the board. So.
They have that. That's going to be in tomorrow's tournament, you realize, right?
A different one, though.
A different one, but Swords of Fury is in there. Yeah.
Lineman.
So that's an advantage.
Lineman be praised.
And Demolition Man.
Yeah.
All the
men will be there.
What else is in there? I saw Game of Thrones, so that's going to take forever to play. Ghostbusters, that's going to be quick.
Ghostbusters, new in box.
Nice. Super fast, super nasty.
That's pretty cool. I don't know.
It's gonna be nasty early on.
If the tilt is tight, it's gonna be eating people alive.
I'm still not used to that flipper gap. I mean, listen. I realize it's in Mustang. I realize it's in WWE and Congo and Creature, but like I'm still like losing and fumbling on that game.
But do you think? Okay, so with the flipper gap, I don't know if this is a Trudeau thing, but like on Indy 500, like the flippers are lower. It's not. They're not gapped, but they're actually lower. So the flippers on Ghostbusters are not only gapped, but they're lower. So it's not like in line with the lane guys.
Ooh,
so they have and that's one of the things that I think is really difficult when you walk up to the first time is you don't understand like it's not as easy to trap. So usually you'll get that like slow roll.
Okay,
you're like it's gonna get to the flipper tip and then it's gonna come back. And this one is just like.
Interesting. Well, you know, Walking Dead's like that too. I thought something was messed up on my game, but I looked at it, you know, where they have like the holes that are drilled where you kind of line up the flipper. Like it's lower, it's pointed down a little bit more. It's hard to trap on that game. Is that fair? Like,
I think like I definitely noticed on Ghostbusters today when I was playing that I was like, man, this is really hard to trap.
And if you look where the alignment holes are in the playfield, it's not like a WPC. WPC, it's like you line up the bottom of the flipper with the alignment holes. On Stearns, you line it up with the tip. So the tip is supposed to be pointed to those holes.
Yep.
The one that we have on location, I actually asked on pin side, I was like, is this correct? And somebody was like, oh yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I wonder why they made the change. Like I heard, it's easier to like hit the outer shots when they're lower, but it's harder to trap up. So I don't know. It's probably a toss up.
Maybe evens out.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get into Ghostbusters. Let's start off just talking about Allentown impressions. This is Kevin's first show.
Yes, not my first pinball show ever. First,
not your first rodeo.
Yeah,
but first Allentown show.
Yeah, so it's I've been hearing for years. Like I've gone to the Ohio show a couple of years, and like you've been telling me, who are you waving to?
You must have
the people.
Hi people. I've been to the Ohio show, and it's okay. It's the closest one to us. That's why I go, because it's like 3 hours away.
Yeah, it's 3 hours.
It's like, all right, what the hell? We'll go down there. And this was like, it's 5 hours each way, and I don't know if I want to drive all that way, but I heard from you and everybody, just seeing the number of vendors that come every year, and it's like, all right, if all these people are committing to go, it's got to be a pretty good show. So this is going to be the year we go, and it doesn't disappoint, man. Like the games are all in pretty good shape, even the ones people bring. I don't think it's probably, from what I've heard, on the level of what comes to like Texas, because everybody says down there that like the collections are ridiculous.
And the venue in Texas looks great because it's in that hotel, like a conference room, so it looks nice.
This is in a like a fairgrounds convention center kind of thing.
Which is fine. I mean, for a pinball show, that's fine. I don't need anything else.
Yeah, and there's no talk about how good or bad the bathrooms are, so that's a plus. Because that's the thing everybody else talks about with the Ohio show. So so the conditions of the bathroom are not under debate here. So that's a good thing. But yeah, it just rose and rose. We walked around for probably 2 hours before we saw everything in this show. Like, because you'd stop and play a game here or there, or stop and talk to people. And in comparison to Ohio, you could probably be through that whole place in like 45 minutes. And, it's like, all right, what now?
You walk in, you almost see everything in Ohio. That's it.
Here it's like, there's a whole other room with like a flea market and people selling parts, and the number of vendors here is like off the charts compared to Ohio.
Awesome.
Well, one of the things that the first time I came downtown, which was years ago, the flea market used to be outside, and it was always like guaranteed it was going to rain. And once they took over that entire facility, because where the vendors are now is that's where the show was. And then the flea market was outside.
Okay.
And so they took over that other side for the show because it had just grown big enough, and then allowed the vendors to be inside. So like today, because we had rain, I mean, we had pretty crappy weather today, but it was like all those vendors are inside. So yeah, I think the vendors are the big thing. Like I've gone to Allentown and York, which is another Pennsylvania show. York is nice. It's like mellow, but it doesn't have the vendors that you see here. And the vendors, I think, really, Marco comes, Pinball Star comes to set up a ton of games.
Coin
Taker, so.
Now, how many Ghostbusters do they have here?
There's a lot.
There are a lot of Ghostbusters.
4 at least?
At least, yeah.
Conservatively.
1, 2, 3, 4. You had one in the tournament. You had one at Pinball Refinery. You had 2 in the Marco booth, and you had one in the Coin Taker. So
which is 5, awesome. Yeah.
5, and then you also had new in box to be purchased.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
That's how you do a pinball show, man. Because there's still lines because everyone wants to play it, but like you don't have to wait all day to play it. You can go up there and feel comfortable.
Yeah, we played one game it was me and Jeff, and Stash Kid actually came over. Shout out to Stash Kid on Twitch. He joined us for a game of Ghostbusters, and we got done and we looked around and we're like, there was people on the game next to us, but we're like, do you guys want to play? But they were already in a game.
Yeah.
And we're like, I guess we'll just play again.
Yeah.
So it's a brand new Stern game.
It shouldn't happen at shows, but that's the way to do it, man.
And it's not like it's a lack of people here, because there's a lot of people here.
Yeah. There's Lebowski, but there's more of a line for that.
Yeah, there's only one, too. There's
only one. They need more of that.
More Lebowski. There's only one Rob Zombie, but the where they have it, I think, like, I was talking to Dave from Buffalo, and he's like, I didn't even see it. Like,
it's kind of hidden.
Oh, Rob Zombie.
So I think it kind of helps keep the crowd down.
That row is a little hidden. Like, it's a little weird, like, because there's a full throttle,
I didn't see Full Throttle at all.
Yeah, it's just hidden.
Okay.
It's
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a Whoa Nelly. You saw the Whoa Nelly?
I saw Whoa Nelly, yeah, I played that.
I didn't see that. That tells you everything about this pinball show.
There's just so much that you
there
don't
for
see
like
everything.
6 hours and I didn't see it.
Yeah, and those were all on vendors. So Marco brought a Whoa Nelly, and Full Throttle, was that Marco? I don't know, but it was over in that area.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a ton of stuff. I got here Thursday, so I got here Thursday morning, and not Thursday morning, but I got here like after the vendors started setting up, which was cool just to see it. Like, you walk in, it's empty basically, and just like coming in this morning, it was like pinball machines had exploded all over. I mean, it was crazy to walk in, and they were still. Yeah, I went in at 8 a.m. and they were still scrambling. Vendors were scrambling to get booths set up, but they were huge. I mean, like huge booths, like the Pin Graphic stuff. I mean, it's just like, it's huge.
I was talking to the Double Danger guys, and I was like, is it worth it for you guys to haul all this stuff out here? And like, I can only imagine the amount of labor that goes into for any of these guys to bring out all the equipment and set everything up. And he says they do good, so it must be worth it for these guys to come out. So. And
it also spreads the word. It's like if somebody doesn't buy something now, it's still like they know Double Danger when they walk away. So I know that they did a lot of business after Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those guys were great. I actually brought up a game for Tommy that is the skateball that's at their booth is going back to that's Tommy's.
Oh, cool.
So they're going to take that back to Indiana.
Yeah, I was playing that, and he told me it was Tommy. So he said the Lock When Lit guy slapped a sticker on the corner. I was like, I got to get a Buffalo Pinball one on there before we go to.
Nice. So you've been coming to this is not your first Allentown show. You've been coming for years now?
I've been for a couple years. It usually lands like in a really bad spot for me because my anniversary is on the 3rd.
Okay.
And so it's always May 3rd, and it always seems to be on my weekend of my anniversary.
Okay.
Then my wife is a runner, and she runs this. It's a 200-mile relay race with 10 other people. And so then they moved that from the fall to the first weekend in May. So then that took over Allentown. And then this year it worked out where I could go. So she had her race last weekend, and I'm in Allentown for the weekend.
Cool. Nice.
But I've been a couple times, and like I was there before it moved, and I've been there since it's moved, and it's great. It's the big show on the like Northeast. Right? I mean,
aside from like Replay FX, but Replay FX is kind of like
just
so
new,
count.
though.
Yeah,
I mean, Replay FX is so new. I mean, it's like Allentown has been around for years, and it's like, and that's why you get the vendors because they know it's every year. It's like Allentown's on the calendar, and Replay FX is going to get that, and it's going to be
going to be huge.
Yeah, this upcoming year, it sounds like I think they might be taking over like the other side.
That's nuts, dude. Replay FX is unreal. You have to like see it. Like pictures, you can see pictures.
All those
like, oh my God.
like you walk across that bridge and it's like, look at all those games down there.
I can't wait. But Allentown's awesome. Wait, how many years have you been into pinball? Like
we talked about how old you are already. So why don't you tell us how long you've been coming to this show?
I started coming to this show in 1982. No, I've been collecting for a little over a decade.
Okay.
So I've been like playing pinball since I went to college in 1990, and I remember I was a pinhead then. I would go and like I remember Addams Family when it first came out. That was my game because I know you talked about that. So Addams Family was like the game that I would go to the arcade and I would just camp on, and just that was the game I played. I don't think they had a tilt bob on it because I do think that like we used to lift it up like if it was drained. Like I was really abusive. Like I was one of those guys.
So you were when Addams Family came out, you were big enough to lift the machine. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. So, but that was like 1990, and then I picked up my first game, which was an Addams Family. It was a decade ago, like maybe 11 years ago. So I've been in like that collector hobby since then, and then I think my second game was what did I get? Twilight Zone. Maybe Twilight Zone, $1,500 Twilight Zone off of Craigslist.
Nice.
Like back when it wasn't like Craigslist wasn't like just a troll party.
Yeah.
Like it was like people posted stuff and you could buy it.
And was it in pretty good shape for $1,500?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Oh my God.
It was like home use only, and the guy had moved from Chicago, and he had posted it. He had posted it on Craigslist, but he had spelled it pinball, like 2 words.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like I've been trying to track one down, and I'd find him, and they were like, they'd sold too quickly. And then this one, I found it, and it was like within 2 miles from my house. And I contacted the person, and the guy was actually away on business. And so I figured out who he was. Like, I found out their home number by like whatever I needed to do, and I got in touch with his wife, and I actually bought it from his wife without ever meeting the guy that I was buying it from, because he was away for work.
He was away. Like, they're like probably separated, and she's like, "This guy."
No.
Well, they are now probably.
But the deal was, like, he was a collector. Like, he collected baseball cards, and so I was like, he understands the value of a collectible item, but he just didn't view the pinball machine as a collectible item. So I went in. They wanted $1,500. I gave him cash, and I ran with my Twilights in, which I no longer have.
Oh, well, you had a $1,500 Twilight.
I had a $1,500 Twilight. So yeah, I've been in the hobby for a little bit, but I've been going to shows. I love the shows because I like the social atmosphere. I mean, it's like I like to go to shows for the social thing, and like you play games, but you play games with people you see, like that you know that you haven't seen for years, and you like connect, and like especially if you expect somebody to be at that show.
Yeah.
I mean that's what I enjoy doing. I
it's like the whole social thing. It's like a family reunion that you want to attend.
Yeah.
And now I think it's like with you guys, it's like you feel more connected with people that you haven't met, like you haven't really met them face to face.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, people you know stream or like Instagram and stuff, like the whole social thing. It's like when you see somebody, it's much more approachable. Like I will go up to people and just be like, "Hey, I'm Taylor. Richmond Pinball or This Flippin Podcast." And people are like, "Oh yeah, I know." You know, it's like, and then it's just like you have a rapport, and hey, you want to go play dollar games, and then next thing you know, you're playing dollar games. Then you're drinking beer at the hotel, and then you're
singing Metallica karaoke.
Then you're singing Metallica karaoke, or playing like Monday Night Football in a hotel room with Robert Gagnon.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, so yeah, it's good, man. It's good.
Or Pirates of the Caribbean down in the hotel lobby
with Bob Matthews. Glumless. Oh, dirty.
I love how like players like they're at Allentown, they're at this pinball show all day, and then they get back to the hotel, and we're at the hotel bar, and what are people doing? They're playing pinball.
Of course.
That's like an addict, dude. Total addict. As I drink my beer. Anyways.
And we podcast and stream.
Yeah, this is my 3rd Allentown, and this one is the busiest that I've seen on Friday. Definitely busier than last year. I got in at like 2:00, and the moment I got in, I went to the tournament because the cutoff to enter was like 4:15. So it was a challenge just to get 4 entries in for the Classics tournament. I managed to do that. And I actually managed to qualify in the top 16. I got eliminated the first round because I played Steve Bowden. You know?
Yeah, they'll do it.
And Levy's really good too. And I mean, it's Classics; anything can happen. But caught a bad break. I still got 5 points. So I was happy because I've never qualified for Classics here before, so that was good. The tournament was 5 games, and it was Matahari, Captain Fantastic, and Sea Witch was in there, which was nice. Fireball 2, which is awesome. I've got that game, man. That's my bread and butter. And then Future Spout. So I liked it because it's all like Bally's, and then even the Stern. I mean, it's still the Bally flipper system that they're using. So this was good. It definitely helped. I think I qualified for 8th. Martha, if you watched our stream, she's my special lady friend. She like had the #1 score on Fireball. Like she lit Fireball up. So she actually finished 2nd on that. But that was cool watching that. And she ended up winning the ladies Classics tournament. This is her 2nd year winning it. So
Buffalo represent.
Big shout out for that. But it was good, man. It was. I think that honestly, part of the problem is that with this tournament, it's such a short period of time. They only had 5 games.
Yeah.
And you need to have like, I don't know, man. You need to have like, I want to say at least 7.
You should have 10 games. Have 10 games in the bank, right? I mean, aren't there enough games like at that show to just say,
I know,
can we pull your game over? Like,
I know, man. I'm trying to think about it because I run tournaments, so I can't help but analyze it. And like they have a period of time, right? So it opens up at noon, and they want to do a Classics tournament, and it ends at 9. So maybe half the time's qualifying. Then you need to at least leave half the time probably for playoffs because they It can go long. I mean, it's still classics, but you can't roll in 5 games and have 80 people. You cannot do that, and you need 4 to qualify. And what happened is I got a little upset because the rule was that you can buy entries up until 4 o'clock, and at 3:15 I tried to buy another one. They're like, we're sold out. Like, you're sold out of entries? And they have the rules right in front of them, and I pointed to it, and they're like, I'm sorry, we're sold out. Like, you just changed the rules in the middle of the tournament, and that's something that, like, as a tournament director, like, you just cannot do, man. They do such a good job, and one of the guys who runs the tournament is a super nice guy, and they take a lot of heat from it, but it was a good tournament overall. It's just Allentown is such a major thing, and when you get 80 people, I hope next year that they can increase the amount of games that they have for it. The games they had were good, but they also had some problems with it because a lot of players will come to Allentown just for the tournament.
So
we got good players, man. We had good, like, some top players here.
Oh, yeah.
There's 80 people playing on 5 games for how many hours?
4 hours. 4
hours of qualifying.
And you need 4 games in there. I only had time to play 4 games, and I got there in 2, so it gave me 2 hours. Think about that. 4 games of classics, and classics don't last too long.
Right.
So
tomorrow's going to be
hopefully it's a learning experience. What was cool is we used the Never Drain software from Carl D'Angelo, which is brilliant, and I love that. And this is one thing that they improved upon by last year is that you say what game you want to play, and they put you in a queue. Yeah. So you don't need to stand in a line. This is awesome. You basically look on your phone when you're next in the queue. So if you're like 7th on a game, like I was able to go and play other games like around the venue, and then I see my name creeping up, and then I show up to play my game. So that's really cool. I didn't spend the whole afternoon just waiting in lines.
Well, Never Drains is also nice because you can change which queue you're in. So if you're waiting for Captain Fantastic and you see that Matahari opens up, you can on your phone you can go and move yourself out of one queue and put you into another one.
I didn't know you can do that.
Yeah, Never Drains is it's great because it allows the players to do that on their own.
I had no idea. Manageable. That's awesome. Okay,
we used it for a tournament we had down in Richmond, and we used that. It was and so we had like monitors above, so you could actually just look up and see how you were queued on the games. But if somebody would walk up and they'd be like, World Cup Soccer's open, boom, and then they're playing, and it's all like player management. Like you can go in and do that.
It's super nice of Carl to not only take the time to make that software, but to let people use it.
Now, is it actually like available? Like, can you go and buy it, or is it still like you have to go through Carl?
You have to go. I had to go through Carl. Okay, we use it for we've used it for one tournament, a pump and dump style. Now we use it for our selfie league, and it works out great.
Yeah, he does a great job with that, and his streams are amazing too.
And he's super responsive anytime I've had questions.
The amount of data he puts on his streams, like all the player stats and everything. It's like,
dude,
I can't even imagine.
They do such a good job. God bless them. We need you need people like that to take like Pinball to the next level and make the user experience good, right?
Yeah.
Not standing in lines. That was a big complaint because like Martha hates pump and dumps because she's like, oh my god, I came down to Allentown last year and all we did on Friday was stand in lines.
That's why I don't want to go to Papa. Like I don't want to stand in line for an hour to play a game and then go stand in line for another hour. That's why I like Pinburg so much, because Pinburg, it's like,
let's just play.
We're playing. You're in a 4-player game with 4 people, and you're always engaged in the game, and then you go to another game. I mean, that's like,
I don't blame you,
match play is just brilliant because of that.
They use I think they use Never Drains. I think they use that software
for Pinburg.
Yeah,
well, it's a little bit different. Like I think he wrote like a special stuff for Pinburg. Yeah, but
they can do the queue system. So I hope next year they do that
for Pinburg.
For Papa.
For Papa.
I heard rumors that they're going to.
Yeah,
like
I think so.
Because there were so many complaints about the line, especially for classics.
Because you're like in this paradise of the Papa facility, and there's like 400 games, and you're just sitting on a chair. Like I was reading a book, like. Not the way you want to spend a day. Anyways, it was fun. We won't get too off track. So that's our Allentown experience for Friday.
So before we get off the tournaments, how does this compare to tournaments of the past? Because you played in 2 other tournaments here.
So the first year I went, it was run by different people. I think the Rock Fantasy crew, and their approach was it wasn't like a pump and dump, which. It's tough. I'm trying to think how you would do this. I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. But it wasn't a pump and dump. It was like they would pair you into groups. you know, and like go play on a machine. You pick a machine, and you could pick any machine out on the floor. So there's some advantages to that, but the problem is the machines on the floor, you can't regulate them, so the quality is just crap. Like, you know, some of them.
Yeah.
Like I remember Francesco, he was really pissed off one year because he played like AC/DC and it was set like to 2 balls.
Oh my god.
And like, you know, he was probably building up a strategy, and like when he just realized there's no ball 3.
Yeah.
So that didn't work too well. Last year wasn't more people, so there I was able to get less entries in. The improvement this year was queuing up in Carl's system so you can walk away, not wait in line, so I appreciate that. But I think last year they had more games. I totally feel like they had more games. And the games that they had, I think, were higher quality, like just like in better shape. I don't know why they only had 5 games this year, and I think that was the whole disaster in it.
Yeah. So they're making improvements, but there's still room for growth.
Something like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, but still moving forward. But you know, I sympathy to anybody who runs a tournament because you know you can't please everybody. There's a lot of variables. I just hope that they learn from some of the issues this year and then improve next year.
But if you put it in writing, you just have to stick with it.
You got it, no matter what.
You have to stick with it. I mean, it's.
Even if you realize it's a bad decision, you got to do it.
We ran into a situation. I mean, it's different than this. We ran into a situation. We ran a tournament out of a brewery, and they had to be closed at a certain time. And so qualifying ran on time, but then we had playoffs because we had 2 playoffs, and those actually took long enough to where when we got to the finals, it went from double elimination to single elimination.
Okay.
And people were pissed, but we had no control over it. It was just like, you know, it's like what are you gonna do? Like you want to run your qualifying as long as you say, and then when you get down to it and you're like, okay, you made finals. If you are upset that you got knocked out, you have to win. Like it's like it's not double elimination. You have to go into that mindset of like you have no more opportunities. Right. So I mean there are times where you have to change it up, but in a situation like this, it's like just go. I don't know.
Yeah, there was no reason not to keep selling tickets. I mean, you have to be here for another hour running the tournament.
Here's the reason. I'm going to try to imagine the reasoning here. Is that it was so busy that they knew that if they were to sell like me a ticket at $3.15 when I went there, I would not be able to get the extra ticket.
But then they just say, "We'll sell you a ticket. We'll sell you a ticket, but you have till 4:15," and then it's like a hard cut or a soft cut. Right. But then it's.
That's what I would have done.
Exactly.
It's what we've done in the past. You
say the caveat because the last thing you want to do is have something in writing and then say you're not going to follow your rules because then everything's out the door.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
What rules are you going to follow and what rules are you not going to follow, especially when you put it in writing.
And now the ticket, like when you would buy a ticket in this tournament, would you buy like it was a 1 ticket per game?
Yeah, well the cool thing, what I like about this tournament is that the first, like you have to play 4 games, okay?
Right.
Out of the 5 that they had there. But when you go and register, your first 2 games are free. That's cool. Mm-hmm. So then every subsequent game is $5. And so I paid $10 and I got 4 games and I was able to qualify for that. And then the max you can spend in the rules was $30.
Right, so you can buy 8.
Yeah,
play
exactly.
8 games.
Which is good. That's an improvement. Yeah. But still, look, dudes, you got like 80 people coming. There's 80 people like last year. You can't roll into 5 games and in 4 hours do this. It's tough. It's tough, man. I'd had to put a lot of thought in how to improve it, but like at least increase the amount of games that you have so you can spread people out playing it. That's the only thing you can do.
Get more people playing all at the same time.
Because I'm pretty sure last year I was able to play more, put more entries in.
Yeah, totally. It's tough. I mean, yeah. That's a tough one.
All the ins and outs of running a pinball tournament, you know, it's tough, man. Just lost people because they don't like tournaments. It's like with like Nate on Coast to Coast. He starts talking about tournaments and the competitive things, and people get pissed off at
Mostly
him.
Just the pinside people.
Yeah, dude. Pinside people. Yeah, God bless
No
them.
comment.
There's some angry people on there. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
There's just too many people. I mean, it's like you get like a lot of people, and people are gonna disagree. Oh, yeah. So it's just like whatever. I mean, that's the thing is like opinions. It's an opinion.
It's an opinion.
All right, that's great. You have an opinion.
Some people just want to be heard more than others.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Ghostbusters because it's been out for a little while now. We've all had a chance to play it. You had a decent chance. We got one on location in Buffalo. Taylor, do you have access to one?
We do. We have one that went on location like a week ago.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. We're gonna start with Kevin, so I can go to the bathroom break. But
right. So watch Nick disappear from the camera if you're watching. Bye, Nick. Thanks for joining us.
All right, now we're going to take over, and we're going to talk about... So, Nick, here's the thing about Nick. He complains about everything.
Oh, my God, everything.
Like, what is that? Like,
man.
Did you play in the tournament?
No, I didn't.
I didn't play in the tournament because I was like, this is just going to make me angry. Like, why would I want... Like, I could tell that there were a lot of people, and I'm like... This is just gonna suck. It's gonna be a grind. I'm gonna stand in line, and then I'm gonna be angry, and then he's, now he's complaining.
Well, I didn't have a choice. I got here too late to even join in the tournament, so I guess I might try my hand at it tomorrow, and then maybe we'll do another podcast, and I can complain too.
And tomorrow's the Moderns.
Yeah.
And when they have a Ghostbusters.
They do, yeah. So Ghostbusters, you can tell I've been screaming over all the...
professionals. These guys are professionals.
Screaming over all the loud machines today, so pardon my voice. But I like Ghostbusters a lot. Like, people are, talking about the flipper gaps too wide, the ball out lanes are too drainy, and, there are some legitimate concerns. Like, I've seen the ball, like, flying over the out lane guides and breaking off of the Scolari Brothers drop targets.
Yeah, that's a problem.
But some of that stuff is, like... There are adjustments you can make to the drop target so they don't brick and send the ball flying. There's an adjustment you can do to Slimer so he registers every time. Not that I spent $5,000 on a pinball machine. I shouldn't have to do these things, right?
Soon they're not going to build it at the factory. They're just going to send you the parts.
Right,
and you do it.
Build your own adventure. You know what I mean? But so I think initial impressions and games inherently out of the box play faster and nastier than they're going to after they wear it a little bit after things settle down. So I think after we get over this initial like month or so of it playing like really nasty, then it's going to settle down and it'll be a little more manageable. But the other thing too, like when I was playing at Pocketeer, the tilt was set ridiculously tight, and on a game like this that's super nasty, like if you can't nudge the machine at all, like it's just totally unfair. And I think we'll get into your complaints about The Walking Dead on location soon too. But I think it's a similar kind of situation where if the adjustments haven't been made to make the game play well, and the tilt is too tight so you can't compensate for that, then it like takes a lot of the fun out of it.
You totally get
But that being said, like the game is still fun. Like it's a gorgeous game. The sounds are good. Like you walk away singing the theme song a little bit, but it's not all you hear. Like there's a good variety of music, and it's just like a fun like world to be in because it's like the Ghostbusters. We're of the age where it was in the theaters when we were kids, so we have fond memories of it. When you see the terror dogs come running out, you remember those things from the movie. So when coming off of games like The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones that were like these real dark like mature themes, quote unquote mature themes, like it's nice to have something that's fun and lighthearted and it has some comedic element to it too.
Yeah.
So Taylor, what are your thoughts on Ghostbusters?
I think Ghostbusters is I think first of all they nailed it out of the park. And now this is a pro. Like none of us have played premiums or LEs, obviously, because they haven't been released at this point. The pro is absolutely knocks out of the park. Like it is, our package is solid, 100%. Zombie Yeti knocked it out of the park. Sounds are great. It sounded really good. The one we have on location is really quiet. Like you do not hear any call outs. And they had them jacked up at the show, and it was really impressive. Like when you start a multi-ball. Okay, well I'll get into this a little bit. It's really fun, but it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's interesting because, like, if you look at Mustang and the approach that, like, Stern was saying that they were taking, they were like, we want to make a game where it's approachable to where new players can walk up to a game and start something easily. So, like, Gear multi-ball, you go up, you hit the drops, and you can start a multi-ball.
Right.
The multi-ball in this game is really tricky to start.
I bet they're going to fix that.
It is.
They're going to fix that.
How?
The thing for new players is Slimer. Because you hit that one target, he starts dancing around, you hit him, like, okay, I made something.
But see, I don't necessarily understand, I don't exactly understand Slimer.
It doesn't matter. It's like, I hit a target, now that he's doing a little dance party, and I'll hit him.
But you still have to drop Slimer down.
I think with Slimer, there's a ghost, it says like
which
ghost.
are those are the sucker shots.
It's one target.
On the first ball, you only have to hit it once to get it
going.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, see, my approach is that so on Ghostbusters, like you can go up in your skill shot, you can select any of the shots, so you can select like the rollovers. I don't exactly know what the upper rollover lanes do.
So it gives you, I think, 10% of your score.
It's one of them, or like PKE frenzy.
Right.
Or like shot multipliers. That's like some of the options.
But you can also go and try to start. You can start a mode. So you can select one of the shots. That's what I usually will. What I've been trying to do is I will select a mode shot, but then I'll let the ball like try to soft plunge so that the ball will come down to the right flipper, and then I go for the captive ball. So to qualify the ramp to lock balls, you have to hit the captive ball twice. You have to hit it one time to qualify the captive ball to light the ramp, and then you have to hit it again, and then you just have to hit the ramp 3 times. But that captive ball is a tough shot.
Yeah,
it's a tough shot. It's off like the tip of the right flipper, but it's also if you hit it, you can hit the shot, you can make the shot, and it'll go straight down to the top of the left slingshot, out lane.
Yep.
And that's brutal. So the ball save, I try to use the ball save to set up, at least on the first ball, to set up my multi-ball. But
yeah, it's new, and like players that are like don't have the nudging skills are gonna have a hard time with this game.
Yeah, I wonder how new people who are like the casual players feel about the game, because I know a lot of good players. I shouldn't say a lot, but I've started hearing some good players become vocal about how hard the game is.
That's because he listens to This Flippin Podcast.
I've you know, some of the best players out there are saying this game is too hard.
No,
that's
really?
Interesting.
Are they really saying
that? I've heard a couple. We'll see what people say over time.
But is that as far as like getting deep into it or score wise? I mean, because like
I didn't go too deep into the conversations. You know, I don't want to like blow it up and say a lot of people, but I've heard a couple people say that.
Well, see, I mean, I like if you look at like Jack Danger did the stream on Wednesday, you know, like to show the Magnus Slings, and he was doing an LE, and he got like a score of 1 billion.
Yeah.
So score wise, like that seems like a decent score. I mean, people put up big scores on him. Like if you look at like what people are posting online, like people are putting billions up there. So it's like they've got to be getting deep into it. I don't know what they're doing.
And if you look at it, like Dwight is making changes to the code to compensate for some of the physical difficulty of it. So he changed it to like 50. You capture 50 ghosts and you get an extra ball back. So that was the most recent code update.
That's fair.
So there are going to be some software, I think, compensations for the physical difficulty of the game.
And like the kick out of the storage facility always lights a ball save.
Right, it does.
Which is nice, which is like you think of Kiss.
Yeah, it's like
Gene Simmons straight down the middle every time. It's like, oh, never.
They'll fix it. And I don't mind a hard game. Like that's not my necessarily my opinion. Like I like a tough game.
Do you think it's unfair sometimes?
I feel like I've played, I've probably played 15 to 30 games on it. Maybe not 30, 15 to 25 games on it. I've never said it's unfair.
Yeah.
You know, because I like a tough game. Like I like early solid state games where every shot you hit is dangerous.
Oh,
like that's like my mentality. Like I'm not everything needs to be flow and come back to the flippers. Like that's boring to me.
So this is one thing I noticed today, because I got a ton of games in like the last 2 days because I was just drawn to play that game. I am thinking about getting one, and I would have to sell something to get one. So it's like you really want to think about it. One thing I love about, like you're saying, I love games that punish you, especially ramps. Like I think of Dennis Norman, like if you don't make a ramp shot, it's straight down the middle. And it's always frustrating, but you're like, I didn't make it. I should be punished.
Right.
Like if you don't make the shot, if you don't make the right ramp on World Cup Soccer, it should go straight down the middle.
Sure.
On this game, it does not do that. Like the ramps, I feel like are safe shots, which is interesting.
Yeah, they're far enough back that you can put a nudge on it if you need to. Or...
Okay, so the thing about Ghostbusters is I feel not that it's unfair, and I think that they are playing really hot because they're new out of the box. I mean, like the clear code is there's spin on the ball that's crazy,
and the slings are like firing. Like
slings are
Metallica
nuts.
When it came out, like it used to fire the ball, it'd be jumping off it.
But see, I think the game is. I think that there's like some cheap drains. Like I think the ball guides between the second in lane and the out lane, like ball hops, and like the Scoleri brother, those targets. I mean, I
the Scoleri brothers, dude.
Fly over the flippers.
That's like inexcusable because I've played a number of games and you hit the Scoleri, which are the pop-up targets in the middle of the playfield. They'll come up. You hit it, like right, so you're doing it right. And a lot of times they don't drop down.
No, at all.
So they're basically like this hitting a post in the middle of the playfield. And I've had them just fly over like the flippers and stuff. And you're just like, I got punished for doing something right.
Yeah.
And the game is cheap. And it wasn't just one game I've played on. It's been multiple games at this point. So that is super frustrating. I'm hoping that as these games are rolling out, and unfortunately they've said this, I think Tommy said this with John Trudeau, is like they're still kind of beta testing it when they put out the first month or so and it's on location, but hopefully they will fix it from the factory so that you hit the sclery targets and it drops down and it doesn't brick back at you and like fly over like a cheap loss. That's my one complaint. That's my one complaint about the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a difficulty with that drop target. Like if you look at Transformers, they had to go in and they had to add a plastic to stop that drop target from doing that same thing. It's like,
don't buy the
game.
Wait a while, Kev.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
But you have
that's why people are like, when are you getting your game? I'm like, it's really not a rush. They're gonna
hold off,
guys.
They're gonna make
Ghostbusters
for a long Storm won't like you saying this, but they'll be making Ghostbusters for a couple years.
But
just
people
wait
are
till
also
they
talking
fix
about coming out with drop targets, like modders coming out with drop targets that actually have like a slant, so that when the ball hits it, it's not projected like
the
that.
belly
so
brick.
it actually like shoots. It's like the stern post, like on The Simpsons, where you had the like post where it was actually tapered, so that you didn't get those air balls off the post.
That's what you gotta do. That's what you gotta do.
Change all the parts that they put
and that's also not only is it
right?
cheap, but it's dangerous right now because it's gonna break some plastics right in your brand new game.
Yeah.
But
the one thing I think that is unfair is that I think they need to make those outlane guides taller. Because the ball just like jumps over like 3 wire guides into the outlane because they're too short. If it was like a normal lane, like a Metallica
if you look at Metallica, it's raised up.
Yeah.
Like it's like
it needs to be like a half inch taller.
It's obvious that it has to be taller to keep that ball in the that sucks.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Especially on location. I think that if you own the game,
it's like whatever.
It's kind of like whatever. I'll hit the start button again.
Mm.
But when you're on location and you're dropping $1 for a game, losing 1 ball or 2 balls like that is
because you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to lose a ball like that.
No,
you know what I mean?
You're not.
Like
that's a design flaw.
Yeah.
That is not a play flaw. And I actually posted to Stern's Facebook page and I made the comment and they were like, play better.
Yeah.
And then like design better.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, that's bullshit.
I thought you were gonna get banned again.
I
Of course, you saw me buying shit out of there.
They let you
not again.
Taylor's been banned. They let you back?
He's back.
They party you?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah. It was like a big day. Like people threw parties. It was like Cinco de Mayo.
Oh man,
tacos.
You're trying to find that line, like what you can say and what you can't say. Apparently.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin sent me this photo. It must have been on Pinside where somebody made like a 1/8 inch longer flipper because of the flipper gap.
They were taking those rigid Bally flippers.
Yeah.
They're 1/8 of an inch longer.
Oh
and
my
they were
God,
putting
dude.
them on Ghostbusters to.
I'm
compensate
gonna
for
put the
flipper
time.
gap.
I'm gonna put
That's
some like
ridiculous.
time warp. Like banana flippers on mine.
I'm gonna put like the 1 inch like
That's
mini
a
flipper from the upper playfield.
That's play better. That's play better.
Yeah.
Don't put longer flippers on.
Don't
People
do
are
that.
like, I'm canceling my order because the flippers are the John Trudeau flipper gap. Dude, just play better.
That's a when I first approached Ghostbusters on location, I went up and like my first 3 games were like the worst 3 games of pinball I've ever played. It's like because you don't know what to plunge for. It's like my thing whenever I approach a game is like, how can I get the ball safely to the flipper?
Yep.
Like that's all I want to do is get it to the flipper so I can make a shot. And then if I'm penalized, it's because it's on me.
Right.
And Ghostbusters, I just went up and it was punishing. Like it was 3 or 4 games where it was just like, what do I do? And that's when I started like selecting a mode, soft plunging, and then you can trap when it comes out the right. You can trap on the right flipper, and then you're good to go. And then it's like, okay, I can actually like play the game.
Yep.
And it might punish me after that, but at least it's like giving me an opportunity to make a shot.
Yeah, that's what I found myself doing. Like not intentionally, but I was short plunging trying to hit the rollovers at the top. And if I missed too short, it would come down to the right flipper, and then I could like start a mode or shoot for the captive ball to get the multi-ball going. And that's the game I had like 140 million on or something like that. So I felt pretty good about it.
So what's your high score on it?
That was it.
I put up 240 this weekend.
Yeah.
And it was like, one of the things I really like about the game is it reminds like WPC where like you can stack. Like you can have numerous modes going, and then starting a multi-ball. Like you have the Slimer, you hit Slimer, and you get the Slimer shots, and then you can start a mode, start a multi-ball, and just like go.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is the first time. Well, because like at Pocketeer, the tilt was so tight I couldn't get storage facility going. I got it going on.
We're gonna start editing Pocketeer out of our podcast. But the one that we have on location in Buffalo, the problem is it's not working right out of the box. So Slimer like starts in the down position because it must be that the ghost switch is triggering. So like you can't count any score or anything on that game. It's frustrating. But,
so what does it do? It just sits there?
Like if you start up a game, it's like he's down floating. Like it's like it's like you've qualified him already.
Oh yeah.
So the switch is registering before you even start the game.
Yeah. So I mean that should be an ezy fix.
Now how long have you had yours on location? 2 weeks. So you guys got a pretty early one.
Yeah. The misspelling and all that.
Oh yeah. I think they're all
reinforcement.
Did you notice if the new ones that they had were?
I didn't look.
It doesn't even register.
I was too distracted by the beautiful Zombie Yeti artwork.
Oh man, it's so good.
It's a gorgeous
game. The art
game.
package is really good. You guys played that Pinball Refinery one? With
no, I didn't. Trim? I saw it. I didn't play it though.
So it's good.
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah. It looks good, and it's not like over the top like LEDs like blowing everything out. Yeah, it looks. Yeah, it's pretty solid.
I want to give a shout out to Pinball Supernova. So I met.
Oh yeah.
With Pinball Supernova, and Lee gave me a couple T-shirts. So thank you. We'll be debuting those on our streamer or talk podcast show.
Yeah, I got one too.
Yeah,
there you go.
He was on
all the perks.
He was a guest host on the Pinball podcast.
I heard. Yeah. I heard. Yeah, I heard.
Elevating the Pinball podcast.
Oh yeah. He's bringing that show out of the gutter, man.
But he's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
And if you're looking for a website that kind of gives you a digest of all the pinball news that's
which
happening,
is needed,
without all of the nonsense on Pinside,
which is desperately needed. Yeah, you need a filter.
Pinball Supernova, check it out.
All right. Anything else about Ghostbusters? Should we move on?
It's a great game, and it's hard, and I like it.
Good. I'm glad you're gonna get it.
Yeah,
I'm glad
you're gonna see it on the stream soon.
But I think that like we're talking strategy on Ghostbusters, and I think that's what's gonna happen is it's gonna be one of those games where it's gonna be like an ass kicker until people really develop a strategy to play it. Like, how can I play this game safely? Like, I want to get a multi-ball ready, and then I want to like start a mode, but I want to start it's like Attack from Mars. Like I always approach Attack from Mars. I always want to be in a multi-ball, and I want to be in a multi-ball, but I always want to be in a multi-ball, but I want to be in a multi-ball at the correct time. So it's like I want to drop my saucer. I want to start a multi-ball. You know, it's like it's going to be one of those games where it's like strategically, if you can like strategically make your shots at the right time, you're going to get deep into it. If you can't, you're going to get just annihilated.
Oh yeah,
I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, but when I had my good game today, I realized like I played Storage Facility and I played like one mode and didn't complete it and still got a pretty good score. So it seems like there's going to be a couple different ways to play it, which is awesome. Cool.
All right, let's jump into. Well, do you want to talk about Rob Zombie?
Yeah, I can give a quick overview of Rob Zombie.
2-minute overview.
Yeah, I really like Spooky's games. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect on this because it was a very different layout. Like, just seeing it online and whatever, pictures, and, you know, the playfield came out and everybody freaked out about the artwork on the playfield, but the cabinet was beautiful, and, you know, it's got those exposed pop bumpers and there's, like, slingshots everywhere on it that make the game super dangerous and nasty, but it plays really good, man. Like, I was super happy with maybe it's just because I had a good game on it, but the fact that I was able to have a good game on it, I think, speaks to the fact that it wasn't too hard. But I got like the Dragula video mode going, and I got a couple multi-balls going, and I played through like 4 different modes, and
nice.
Ended up with like 15 million. I don't know like how that game scores, but it was just really fun and different, and you know. Thumbs up to Spooky for doing different things. And
did you like it more than you thought you would?
Yes, absolutely.
And did it look better in person than you? Because you weren't thrilled. Let's be honest, you weren't thrilled with the playfield.
No, I remember seeing the pictures and I sent you a screenshot. I go, well, this looks like a Zizzle or whatever, you know, out of the box from the screenshots on when they first unveiled it. I think they did redesign this area where the inserts are a little bit.
Okay.
So they added inserts.
Yeah, it looks a little more filled in the middle there.
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, it's like I think my biggest concern with like the look of the game is probably how dark it was.
Mm-hmm.
On America's Most Haunted, they had those LED strips down the sides, and they don't have that on this game. So I mean, we're in a well-lit hall here, so it looks pretty good and is okay. But if you look up at the translate, it's like super dark. And,
yeah.
I think with America's Most Haunted, a lot of people ended up getting like Pinball Bulbs LED kits with spotlights and things like that to brighten it up.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see the similar thing happening with this, but the biggest issue with the game that I saw happening was it was having like software reboot problems.
Oh,
so it's like dying in the middle of the game, and so
they'll get that fixed.
I'm confident they can get that all.
That's minor stuff.
Like Big Lebowski was doing that at the Ohio show too. So it's like with these new games, it's like
as long as the game shoots in place well, then that's the biggest hurdle.
The layout
right?
is good
That's what's important.
And it seems like the rules they have in it are fun. You got all the calls from Rob Zombie in there and music, obviously. So
there's a toy. I saw the game, but there was a line I didn't get to play it.
Yeah, it was
there's like a I guess a molded toy. It doesn't even really toy because it doesn't do like a bucket of chicken. But the guy's like, oh, it doesn't look like a chicken. Some guy was like talking. He's like, it doesn't look like chicken. It's like a bucket of turds.
That's what I thought it was too.
And after
I knew
after he said it, I'm like, dude, that's a bucket of turds.
Yeah, I knew what it was supposed to be, but Jeff had never seen the game before. He goes, what is in that bucket? I go, well, it's supposed to be chicken. And somebody's like, well, you can get the upgraded Pinball Refinery chicken bucket if you want. So pay a little extra
that's
to make
hilarious.
it out
the lock shot is really hard.
Yeah.
I found the lock shot really hard.
Is that the far left shot? Or
no, it's like you have the two pop bumpers on the left-hand side, and then you have like two drop targets, and then I think you hit the drops, and then to the left of those is the lock. And I think there's there's two stand-ups. Mm-hmm. Two stand-ups, and then there's a drop.
One drop in front of it. But you could like sneak it in behind that drop.
No, I got two balls locked. I could not start a multi-ball. That's what I was going for, and it was a tough shot though.
I must have started a multi-ball during a mode or something because I didn't do the drop target thing.
Okay. So, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. And it's got like it recognizes how nasty it is, like, because I think they're pulling off some software tricks like with the outlanes. If you spell the outlanes, it gives you a ball saver. So there are some ways that it's compensating for how nasty it is.
Cool. I'm going to have to try that out tomorrow.
Yeah,
all right,
definitely check it out.
So let's move along just for the sake of time because we still got one more day of Allentown.
And this is not This Flippin Podcast where we podcast for 3 hours.
Hey!
Don't
worry, I recorded stuff earlier, so
you're gonna hear Martha singing, and it's gonna
But I'm gonna do the commitment because we're gonna do a review like we've been doing on every show. People like the reviews. Yeah, that's been it's been a hit. We're gonna review.
We don't review anything on my show. Do we review stuff?
I don't think so. It's your show. You tell me.
I talk about Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, you do.
Can you give us a brief Wizard of Oz?
What's breaking or not?
Yeah, so Wizard of Oz. I played Wizard of Oz at Allentown. They had 2 of them, and I don't think either of them were working.
Oh my God,
I don't. I mean, I think that they were both turned off at the end of the show.
I didn't play either one, but it could have been.
The Hobbits weren't working right either. The pop-up things, like the little.
I don't know what's going on.
It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good that they're debuting. I wouldn't buy a machine. No, I'm gonna be so hated by people, but it's true though. It's not working on look. You take it out of the box. The pop-up targets aren't working.
I don't know what's going on with the pop-up targets. I have a friend who bought one, and he had an issue with the pop-up target. And it's not a pop-up target. It's a mech. I mean, it's like
the troll.
The trolls. It's like the trolls. And I watched Steve Bowden blow up a Hobbit, and he had like 2 billion point score, but. Those pop-ups should basically you qualify them, and every time you hit a rollover, like one of the in-lane rollovers,
which is cool,
they pop up, and I do think it's cool, and it makes the game hard.
Yep.
None of them were popping up.
Yep.
And so we're like, this is not right. Like, and at first they were like, what it was weird. Like they were all popping up.
It's like whack-a-mole, dude.
Yeah,
unintentional.
It is like but then like only 3 were popping up, and then only 2, and then none of them were popping up.
Yeah, when I was playing, like it was like 3 were working, and then one would like start to come up a little bit
like
and jump right back down.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, and like the flippers on the one I played were like super weak, and they weren't really making it was almost impossible to hit those ramp shots.
It's a beautiful game.
It's gorgeous.
It is a beautiful looking game.
Did you guys look at the decals? Like they had the rad decals or whatever they call them.
No.
It's like the super shiny ones. This is the first time I had seen them. They
we mean decals like on the cabinet?
Yeah, the cabinet decals.
They were shiny.
They were really shiny, but this is the thing that this is like an upgrade that they gave kind of after the fact.
Okay.
To LE or I guess any buyer. If you check them out, you go up to them and they're like they look like glass.
Yeah. They look good.
But they're like really thick. I mean, it's almost like a playfield plastic has been screened, and that's what they're using as side art. I don't know. It's interesting.
It looked good.
The first time I've seen it, but they look really good. I mean, they're like super tight.
I didn't know what I was looking at, but it looked good.
Yeah. Do you think it's like because they originally on Waz they tried to clear coat the cabinets and they were chipping and stuff? Is this like an alternative to doing that?
I think it's an alternative. I don't know. I think it's an alternative to having a more durable thing for operators.
Okay.
Like I think that I have a Waz with a clear coated cabinet. Like I have the direct screen cabinet, and it is stunning.
Yeah.
I think that if they could have stuck with that, they would have. I think that there was just issues. The chipping stuff I've heard about, but I mean, a decal can scratch.
Yeah.
You know, a decal can wrinkle. So it's kind of like cabinets get damaged. You know, it's like they do. You know, if somebody's like sliding in between games to like fix something, you know, it's like
belt buckle's gonna scratch.
Yeah, I mean that happens, but I think that that was a solution to stop getting damaged on location. But I thought the decals they have, like the just standard decals, look great as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's more of like an operator thing.
Yeah, beautiful looking and sounding game, but yeah, hopefully the mechanical stuff gets worked out.
I think they'll work it out. They have to. I mean, they did it with Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like I had a ton of problems out of the box, but now this is Wizard of Oz update.
Yeah,
you get it.
We asked for it.
You did ask for it. And I've always banged the drum about it. It's like, you know, I had issues out of the box, but my game has been solid, and since it's been solid, that's cool. I love that game.
Yeah.
But it's getting to that point where it's like, it's reliable. Like I don't want to open the hood on my game. Like I spend the time, so I don't have to do that. And I don't on Waz unless I'm just waxing it, you know, like throwing some wax on. But
and to get to that point, was their support good? Did they like ship you new parts, or were you on your own?
Their support was really good. I mean, I honestly think that they were overwhelmed with how many issues they were having. Like the light board, it's like they keep sending it out and they were still having issues. So it's like they needed to figure out what was causing the issue. Okay. Because at that point, they're just throwing money away. It's like, okay, we're sending you a new light board. Okay, we're sending you a new light board. Okay, we're sending you a new light board because you're not fixing the problem. It's like something's wrong. And then they redesigned the light boards, and that seemed to help. But they had to get to that point. So the support was good, and I've talked about on This Flippin Podcast is that I've gone out, I've done service calls for Jersey Jack Pinball to service Wizard of Oz games. So they've been great with those customers. So I do think that like if you do buy a game new in box, they do support it.
This is good.
That's huge.
Yeah,
which brings you back as a customer. No matter, you can kind of forgive some of the other things.
If they're gonna make it work, then yeah, it's gonna get there. Keith Johnson, I have no doubt. Like the code might be early now, but like I think he's gonna do the same thing he did with Waz. And I have a friend who bought a brand new Hobbit, got it like 2 weeks ago. He's had some issues, and they've worked with him. They sent him like complete mechs and just said, put this in, because they want to fix him. They want him to work. You know, it's not like you have the game, you have the $8,000 game. Congratulations.
We have your money, thanks.
Good luck. You know, bye. You know. So no, they are supporting it. And distributors want them to work because that's a pain in the ass for them. I mean, you know, it's like these guys who bring the games. It's like it sucks for them when it goes down.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel so bad when like you're at a show and you know that these guys have busted their ass to get all these games there, and then you see them down, and it's just like,
and you're trying to sell them.
Yeah,
and they're not working right.
So.
Stuff.
All right, let's.
Is it review time, man? That's what we get. That's what happens when we mention Wizard of Oz. It goes right off the rails.
That's cool.
So what are we talking about? Walking Dead.
We're gonna review.
Let's talk
Walking Dead Pro and Premium, which we don't. I don't think we have to deviate.
I think somebody's at the door.
Too much.
Somebody at the door.
Hold on.
All right, so Walking Dead. So I've talked about the
No.
Oh, nobody's there. It was a ghost.
All right, so I'm gonna break it down to categories. So we're gonna gonna review each individual piece, but we're gonna talk about the art, sound, toys, DMD, lighting, gameplay, rules, and last ability. So let's start with the art. Kevin, you can kick it off. How do you feel about the art on Walking Dead?
The Walking Dead art is okay. It's I don't know. It's a bunch of zombies on a pinball machine. it's got the cast of characters on the sides. The LE has more like zombies, but they're like, it's not hand drawn art. It's like real photos of their zombies made up for the show.
I think some of it's hand drawn. I think some of, like, not the zombies. I think it's like a blend of like Photoshop and hand drawn.
Some of the like guns and weapons.
Interesting.
And stuff
Yeah.
But the majority of it is pictures of actors, but most of the actors are like zombies in makeup.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue people had when the game came out was the giant AMC logo everywhere.
Yeah, come on, AMC.
Which is pretty ridiculous. It's like
we know where to watch Walking Dead. We know it's your Walking Dead.
It's AMC's The Walking Dead. Yes, we know. You say it every time on the TV show.
It's not the comic book style.
Yeah, everybody was hoping for the graphic novel style, and that would have been great. But I think for what's there, it's good. It's not the worst of the like Photoshop. It's not Game of Thrones level bad, but
it's like puking Skittles on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I don't get Game of Thrones at all, but let's not get into that.
Yeah.
I think it's good, not great, is what I would say about the artwork on
Taylor, what do you think?
I do not think about the artwork on that game at all.
Perfect way to put it, actually.
But I do the AMC thing is ridiculous, a little over top. But there's some of the translates are much better than others. Like there's one like the premium. Is that the one where it's like the AMC or the walk? It's like right in the middle.
The premium probably has AMC right in the middle. The premium is like the governor's fish tanks.
Oh yeah.
You've seen the show, yeah.
I mean, so I think they're like different. I actually have I want to translate at Pinburg. That's like the zombies, which isn't bad.
Like the chain link fence, like the prison fence.
Yeah. That's a pro, right? Yeah. So
pro and LE,
the same, but it's mirrored.
Okay. So I think that I don't know. I mean, it's very muddled. Mm-hmm. It's like the artwork on the playfield is very muddled. I mean, I think the idea is like it's supposed to be like ground splattered with blood, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
it's
it's almost like the playfield's almost like a map. I think at some points, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I own the game, and that's how forgettable it is. Actually, now that we're talking through
I think it's just the way I recall it is just like a field of zombies.
Well, it's like the idea is like you have like the barn in the middle, so it's like that's
the prison,
field,
though.
Right?
The prison, yeah.
No, that's the prison.
But isn't like it's almost like feels like a prison yard, like it's. The playfield is almost like the prison yard that you're playing.
I don't know. I was looking at it the other day. This is how bad it is. This should tell. This is telling right here.
Unmemorable.
I think it's almost like a map, like how they have the map of Terminus. You watched the show?
No.
Like so,
Like how many times have you played The Walking Dead?
They have like the map to Terminus, and they're always looking at. I think that's like the playfield.
Yeah.
God, this is how bad. Yeah. Okay.
You've played it how many times?
This is your answer.
Yeah.
See, I don't watch the show. It's like too violent for me.
Yeah.
I don't like want to see people getting their heads bashed.
It's fake.
That's
valid.
No, dude, that's valid though.
Do we need to have the talk
There's
about
moments where I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this part of the show. Like, are they done? Okay, they're done.
Children over here. Oh my god.
No, but they're like
people
sewing. They're like sewing people. Like, I don't want much surgery. Anyways,
bunch of wins.
I don't know. I just never got into it.
But the one like embellishment on the playfield that I like is like they've got the blood splattered on some of the plastics and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I mean, the art to me is it gets I say this a lot about a lot of games. It gets the job done. Like, it's not art when it comes out. I point out the art to anybody. Oh, look at the playfield, or I'm going to send pictures of the art to people. But it's not so bad where I'm like, are you kidding me? Like they paid somebody to do this. It's not like that. So it just passes. It gets it done, and it's like move on. Let's talk about sound. Kev, what do you think about the sound in the game?
Sound has improved greatly since it first came out.
Okay.
When it first came out, it was all about the hillbilly announcer guy. And now he's still in there, but I think the rest of the sound package is fleshed out enough that either people have given up caring about the hillbilly announcer, or it's like there's enough else going on that you don't really notice it as much. But like the riot music is great.
I love the riot song. That's awesome.
I just want to start the riot mode to hear
such a great mode and great like track, dude.
And it's when you get into like Woodbury mode and it slows down and it's got like banjo-y kind of
very atmospheric.
The atmosphere is really, really good musically on it. And it makes up like the zombie squishing sound when you're hitting the shots. So I always remember the sound effect when he's hitting the zombie in the head with the crowbar. It's like, whack,
totally
whack,
good.
Whack.
Yep.
So I think the sound is great. The announcer is he's okay, but he fits the theme because it takes place in the South. So,
yeah.
He fits more than like he does on the Iron Man.
He fits the Walking Dead universe. Maybe not the show because he's not in the show, but it fits in the universe of Walking Dead.
I like the sound. I've never like really had a problem with the announcer guy or whatever.
I think everybody wanted it to be Rick Grimes doing the announcing, but
see, that's
if
the
you're
thing,
not familiar with the show,
I don't
who
come
cares?
from the show, so like I'm just approaching it like here's a pinball machine, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Like there's no association of like I should hear this person like Star Trek or something. It's like.
And what's great is they have an announcer doing custom call-outs that tell you things in the game. I can't stand when it's like, let's just throw a bunch of quotes from the movie in, and it's like I need to figure out what that means in the context of this. It's like, tell me what to shoot for.
That's right.
Help lead me through the game.
Do you want to add anything?
No, I mean, I like I said, I mean, I don't associate it with the show, and I've never really had a problem. I do like the modes. There are good sounds, like you're saying. I mean, I haven't played enough to specifically say like the barn has like the greatest sounds, but they work. I mean, I mean, it's not like you're just getting the same like grinding thing like over and over. There's like a walking sound. Is like I know that there's a sound where it's kind of like there's like the
the horde.
Sound. Yeah,
you start horde is like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like that.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Horde mode
Horde mode is super cool.
I think Stern is doing very well with the sound stuff.
Agreed,
I mean, like
100%.
going back to Ghostbusters. Like when you start Storage Multi-Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it was good.
Yeah, it gets you pumped up.
Yeah, I think Stern is doing. I think that they're doing well with the sound department. I think that they're. Yeah.
I think the sound of Walking Dead. I mean, Kevin captures my thoughts and feelings on it. It's funny that some people have replaced. They didn't like the hillbilly sound because they wanted. And the hillbilly voice, and it's not all hillbilly. Like this guy does voices for other people and the characters,
from Virginia,
and they try to, like they're like extra ball is lit, like it's like over the top, dude.
Like
yeah, some people replace it.
What are you talking about? We got blueberries.
Food line, man. What?
Some people.
Sorry.
Some people have replaced like with the calls from the show. I don't feel even the need to do that. Like I never watched Walking Dead until I got the machine, so I like started watching all the seasons.
I did that with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And I'm not like after watching it and liking the characters, I'm still not like, oh, I need these character voices in the game. I just don't. Like I think the voice in there contextualizes what's going on in the game. Like you hit the prison and he makes comments appropriate, or he tells you to go for things. And that's what I want in the pinball machine. Just tell me to do it. And I don't think he's trying to imitate a voice. It's not like a bad imitation.
Yeah.
So that also is good. Like on Batman, if it's a bad imitation of Batman, then it might be grating to you, but it just works. But I know other people are listening to this and it really bothers them. So I totally get that. But for me, the sound is great. The music's great in the game. They totally nailed it. Stern does a great job, I think, on sound. They're so good at that. Cool. Let's see what's next on the agenda. So DMD and lighting. Kevin likes dots.
I like dots, and I like the dots on The Walking Dead. It's not just clips from the show.
Yeah.
They
animated,
they went in, hand animated all the zombies, and the when you plunge and get the skill shot, it blasts the head off of a zombie, and it's exactly what you would want for a game like this. And I can't wait until like color DMD comes out for it.
It'll be interesting because I like the red because it's a darker show. The red fits, so you don't want to make it cartoony. I don't think you got to be careful. So who's ever doing the dots for that, they got to get it just right. Mm-hmm. And they've been killing it, so I'm sure they will be able to pull it off.
That's good. I like the dots. Dots are good.
They're really violent.
Yeah, super
violent.
I
was definitely like, I don't... Well, I took my daughters to Flippers down in North Carolina, which is like a big arcade down there, and I think they actually played Walking Dead. And I was like, oh no, like, I gave the dots it's violent.
Yeah.
It's very, it
goes with the show, though.
It goes with the show, but like, it's really over the top. Like, the extra ball is the eye, right?
Yeah.
The dots are good, but they're hand-drawn, so it's not like that, like, muddled, like, I always think of Spider-Man, where it's like, what the hell is going on?
They did that again with Game of Thrones, which is just a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. The Game of Thrones is a mess. But Ghostbusters, going back to Ghostbusters, the dots are pretty good in Ghostbusters, like Ecto,
Totally. I like the dots, and the lighting in the game is good. I love the lighting on the premium. It's like this red overtone with it, and it kind of flickers and transitions between like white, so looks totally good, totally kind of creepy.
On the
premium.
Walking Dead. Now the lighting is completely different between the two, right? Because
totally.
The premium has RGB.
RGB.
And the Pro does not at all.
Pro does not.
Right? Yeah, that's huge.
So if you've seen the premium, it's very red, right? But it can flicker between like this red and white, and it will kind of pulse and fade in and out. Very atmospheric. Like if you hit like a zombie shot, like you get a kill, and it will just kind of transition and do this fade. It just looks really good. It really draws you into it. And I think with horde mode, like lights kind of go out and like the music just pulses, and I have like a subwoofer hooked up to it. It's like juju, and the lights will come on. Such a cool mode, like such a good feeling when you get to it.
That was when the latest round of code updates came out. That was like premium and LE owners made comments about how great the lighting atmosphere is.
The game is coming together so nicely.
That's the icing on the cake for a game like that. It's just like that final polish that really like it the lighting really sets the mood and makes it like a show.
Yeah.
And some of the newer games don't always have that.
What do you think about the toys in the game?
Toys are good. I mean, if you like Bash toys, you're gonna like this game. It's got 2 big ones.
No problem with Bash toys.
And actually, I like Bash toys.
It makes sense in this game.
Oh yeah,
Bash toys and Walking Dead. You're all you're doing, and we watch the show is just shooting zombies, hitting zombies, like
stabbing them in the head.
That is a case for bashing.
The 2 toys are the well walker and the barn, right?
And on the premium,
the prison,
Girl.
which is funny you call it a barn because it looks like a barn, though.
Right.
It totally looks like a barn.
Yeah,
it is a prison, believe it or not.
The barn's on the left shot.
Oh, the barn is okay. It does look like a barn, though. But then you have Bicycle Girl, right?
Bicycle Girl.
And you have the crossbow.
Yeah, so Bicycle Girl is on the premium, which is not on the Pro, and Bicycle Girl is another zombie head. When the the left ramp lifts up and you can bash her.
Right.
Which is weird that Bicycle Girl is a toy in the game because she's in episode 1 and she's not even a threat. Like she's just like half this body like crawling on the ground, and he just like shoots her out of mercy.
But it's like the first zombie you see in the show. That's
true.
That's why it's notable.
Okay, fair enough.
And in the game, Bicycle Girl is pretty easy to get because you just hit the left ramp a couple times, and then it's like a.
It changes the game in the premium though.
Oh, it does.
Because you don't want to start in single ball play because when you come up, it's this bash choice, so it comes right back at you.
Oh,
and it's almost an instant drain. So you want to your strategy changes. Like you want to start Bicycle Girl during like a multi ball.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which is interesting. And then of course the premium has the crossbow, which is like if you played Austin Powers, it's that same toy. It's okay. It's a canon thing that comes out. It's like take it or leave it.
If you could magically somehow hit all the shots, it gives you a multi-ball, but have you ever done that?
I've never done it. Yeah. I asked when Ed Robertson was over on the show. He's like, yeah, I've done it. So it's doable. Sometimes I guess if you miss a shot and you don't hit anything else, you get like a grace period so you can kind of cheat and hit it with the flippers. That's the only way because some of those shots are so tight in the angle with the crossbow, I don't know how you possibly hit them. But it's okay. It's an okay toy. Mm-hmm. Why not? It's great. It's just another thing in there.
Yep.
And then the premium has a magnet on the well walker. So I don't know if you want to call it a toy, but it changes it a little bit different than the Pro.
So what does it do? So after you start it,
it'll hold it, or if you hit him, it will move it around, so a little more movement. And then the well walker on the premium and LE, like when you hit him back, you can see his guts and they light up. So there's a little bit more to him. I think the well walker is very boring on the Pro. I think it's more. I think it's more exciting on the premium, like because of the magnet there. It's much better.
I played one premium and it just kicked my ass, so it was like, meh. I mean, we have a Pro on location, and it kicks my ass as well, but it's like I at least can see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the well walker is just like, then it like flops over.
Flops a little bit,
like, And the barn,
the prison barn.
The big issue with that was just like it was like half the time it didn't seem like it registered hits.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's a super dangerous shot.
I mean, but when when you go into prison multi-ball and you have to hit the prison a certain amount of times, and then it'll trap it on the magnet.
Yep. Which you twice. You hit the prison twice, and then it will trap on the magnet and then light all the shots.
Right, and then it'll drop it. I mean, we have the problem with the straight down the middle off the magnet, which is frustrating. And then it lights all the shots, but then you can also hit the prison to be awarded a letter for prison once you spell all the prison letters, you qualify multi-ball.
It will spell, like, after you hit prison twice, it will light all the shots.
Right.
And then once you hit all the lit shots, then you got to hit the prison twice, and it will start a multi-ball. So there's a lot of steps to that. But you can keep on hitting the prison, and it will spot one of the lit shots. So one of the lit shots.
See, that's the thing I find frustrating is like if that switch is not working correctly.
Yeah. Location pinball, man. Yeah. That's that will ruin your experience. Like you're not getting the full Walking Dead experience.
Here's my thing about that is, Stern always talks about like their games are made for location pinball. They need to make their games so that they work for location pinball. Like it's so frustrating. Like
it's not my fault.
Pissing everybody off.
It's not my fault though, man. I love Stern. I'm gonna buy another Stern. Within a year, I'm gonna have another Stern pinball machine. Maybe my 6.
Real talk. I understand that, but they need to make games so that they work, so that like you don't have that issue. Like I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it is, but design the switches like they do these quirky switches and stuff like that. It's like just make it work.
I rather than investing in the LCD and all that bullshit, I rather than just make these games more reliable and longer lasting. I rather than like new technology in that. That.
Look at Magnus Links, right? It's like all this like pushback against like doing an LCD screen because like it's going to take a lot to develop that, and then all of a sudden they like take out a slingshot kicker, like. What?
Now we have to program these magnets.
Now we've got to program magnets, and then it's like, oh look, they look just like slingshot kickers. It's like, well then just put slingshot kickers in. Like, if that's what you're trying to create, just put the kickers back in. Like I don't get it. Like why would you go and like?
It's ballsy, man. It's I know, dude.
Well, they told you on Facebook to play better, and maybe they just to design better.
I probably just got banned.
That's right. We're all banned.
All right, so we're good on toys. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Well, here's my 2 favorite things: gameplay and rules. But let's talk about gameplay. How does the game shoot? How does it feel?
It is tough. The ramps are steep, and like it has really unusual ramps.
Yeah, really.
That one on the right is like super far off of the left flipper, and it goes up really steep and it goes back really far, and if you don't hit it strong enough, and you can get it like all the way so it's going back behind the playfield and it can still come back at you.
See, my experience with those ramps is when I first approached that game, I saw those ramps and I was like these are impossible.
Yeah.
But there's something about they've designed those ramps. I think that the ramps were designed really well because my experience is that it seems like you're not going to make it, and then it just like
it's true.
It actually disappears. And
it's like, almost like this effect. It's like floating back there.
They're very smooth. They're tight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they're so long. Mm-hmm. Like the ramp shots are. I'm used to like ramp shots where they're further back, so they're just like short.
Yeah.
These are long flowing, which are nice because it gives you time.
Yeah.
Like you have setup time.
You can
on
breathe.
Those ramp shots.
Yeah.
It's the only time you can breathe in this game. It's got a lot of shots. A lot of the shots feed back to the pops, which I know Taylor's gonna curse out, but this is a game, if it's not set up right, you are gonna have a bad time with.
There was a lot of drain. Like a lot of people were complaining, and I saw this on location. Is that when the ball comes out of the pops, it will drain right down the center. On my premium, I've not had that problem. I mean, I balance my game. No problem whatsoever. It will do it maybe 1 out of like 15 times almost. I mean, it's just not a thing. Knock on wood.
Yours it comes out of there, and you can let it dead pass from the left flipper over to the right. You're trapped up. You're in control. Let's make a shot.
And maybe it's not. Maybe it's these games are balanced, and some of them are just when they're drilling the holes, it's just off enough to screw it over. I don't know, man. Maybe I got lucky, but yeah, that's the one complaint that I've seen.
Yeah.
That's a frustrating thing. I mean, like Kevin was saying, like you have so many shots go to the pops, and the location game we had it was just like the game was set up really tight. I mean, the tilt was just crazy tight, so you're not doing anything to it. You're watching it go down the middle, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And it's like you want to. I mean, it's just so many shots go back there, and it's like you're making the shots, and then you're getting this penalty for it. That was frustrating.
It's unfortunate. I feel like it's not fair to the game to hold that against. And I've seen it in reviews and stuff. It's not fair to hold that against the game because I feel like it's just not. Whoever set it up is not leveling it right. And if they leveled it right, that wouldn't happen. I could be wrong, and it could be because they're drilling holes wrong at the factory or something.
Like Spider-Man, or you look at even Ghostbusters, where they have those gates on the right. where they actually like control the way that the ball travels out of the pop nest. Like they could have done something like that so that they knew. Like,
so it wouldn't be an issue no matter what.
I mean, the thing is, if you go on location, if the game gets like slid a little bit, it could be out of. I mean, that goes back to like engineer the game so that they play well on location.
Yeah.
Like take those extra steps, like Spider-Man, like that right exit. That's going to go down the right flipper. Ghostbusters is the same way. Like you can get straight down the middle out of that right pop nest exit, but most of the time they hit that gate and it does define where that travel is going to be. And if they had that in there, so you didn't have that,
you're right.
That would make it's a more playable game. Make the game playable.
Because the game is going to get moved around location, right?
Exactly, absolutely.
And it's great in my home, but you put it on location in the wild, like you're going to frustrate people, and like you're going to have a bad experience on it, and you're going to feel cheap and cheated. I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah, and even put a little stupid spring on there like they did on Avatar.
No, don't put, dude, Kevin, don't suggest that. You don't understand.
You got to do something.
The spring cuts into the playfield. It will leave us. It scratches. Like they put it on my ACDC Pro and it digs right into it.
Oh yeah,
that's a horrible idea. Don't ever tell them to do that. Don't listen to Kevin.
Just put springs in all your games.
Yeah, dude, I like the gameplay in that game. I'm not huge like every game has to have flow. There's RAM, so there is flow in that sense, but a lot of shots are coming back at you. Like I feel like once again, sort of like Iron Man, I'm fighting the game in a way. Like I feel like I'm killing zombies. The gameplay immerses me. Forcing you to hit these targets on the left is interesting to start modes.
Yeah.
The game is just totally interesting to me. It's different enough the way the game is set up and the way it feels that I'm like, okay. I got to think a little bit differently. It brings me into kind of the moment when I'm playing the game.
I can see that. I mean, they came a long way with code as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because
let's start off with code and rules. That's perfect.
Go for it.
Yeah. I'm not going for it.
Yeah, no, man. I
get my ass kicked all the time, but I do. I mean, like I'm responding to like what I've seen people say as far as like from where the code was to where it went.
Yeah.
Like it just like it changed the game to where people were kind of like blasting it and then it was just like all of a sudden something happened and it was just like they got it. Like it got to the point where it was like it started to click.
Yeah. It was when they really started incorporating those drop targets on the left and getting bloodbath in the game. And the first time they started, I was like trying to figure out like people are talking about bloodbath. What the heck is this? And then I saw the strategy of like, all right, you got to collect all three of those the weapon supplies and food on the left.
Yeah.
And then it lights bloodbath. And then like once you're in bloodbath, you can keep hitting them to add a ball, and you can bring in other multi-balls with it and modes, and that's when the game just blows up. And that's what I love about this game. It's like, yeah, you'll get destroyed on it a lot, but when you blow it up, it feels so good because it's like you're just like everything
multipliers,
happens.
man. Yeah, shot multipliers,
everything. X gonna give it to you like Bowen said in his tutorial. And then if you can get to something like is it Horde when it's like you have to hit the different shots when the zombies are coming at you. Oh my god! Cool. So it's like one of the best wizard modes in Pinball.
No, there's several. That's the beauty of it. There's like a number of wizard modes you can call it. I mean, there's the Last Man Standing, which is like kill 100 some zombies. Which who knows if I'm ever gonna get close. I think I've killed like 60. I'm not even there. But then there's the Horde mode. All right, which you can call that a wizard mode where you collect all the weapons. Then there's getting to Terminus, which is beating the 5 modes in the game, which I haven't yet to do that. And then there's even Siege, which is doing having a really good prison multi-ball, which I've done that once on location on older code. So how many is that? So you have Last Man Standing, Horde, Siege, Terminus. 4, I would say 3 maybe mini wizard modes, and then Last Man Standing is 1 wizard mode. So much depth to it, man. It's a great game to have in your collection because of the rules.
Lyman game?
Oh, totally. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, see, he's one of those guys who he's like Keith Johnson. You have these great players who get it.
Yeah.
So it's like if they can put the time in it, and these guys are grinding away getting this done, and they're always like thinking about the tweaks.
Yep.
And it's I mean, such a crapshoot though sometimes where it's like, is it or isn't it going to be like one of those games where like they have the passion for it to make it just next level.
If it's Lyman or Keith, you might as well just put your money down right now because they're going to do it.
Yeah.
They will.
They're solid, man. And they're great players. I mean, that's the thing. Is like they're great players, and they know what great players expect.
Yeah. So they're artists. They care about their craft. It's not just the job. They care about the product, no matter what. Like
now, what kind of nuance? Like, what are the nuanced rules in The Walking Dead where you're just like when it happens, like even if it's like you're punished for it or something like that, where you're just like this is the icing on the cake.
Here's what's cool. So the multipliers, like you can't help but talk about the multipliers in the game. So after you kill 2 zombies, I believe it is, there's like an X that gets lit up on one of the rollover like in lanes, and you can switch it. So if it's lit and the ball rolls over it, it will activate that X. So the next shot you hit is like 2X, but it doesn't have to be 2X. So like, if you hit like a couple more zombies, then it goes up to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 and so on. I don't think there's a limit to it. So you can keep on making sure like that the ball doesn't roll over the X. So you just build up to this point where like I have no idea. You have like a mode that's running like Riot, and like the next value shots like maybe like 10 million. You have like 7X. And you hit that shot, and like suddenly you just got 70 million for a shot, and dude, you feel like, oh my god, that's what I built up for, and that feels so good. This is why you should
watch Buffalo Pinball. Like this is why you should watch these guys play pinball.
It's so good. Not me. And they have like on the screen, you know how like
if you want to watch Waz, you got that.
You like rage cam. If you just want to see somebody get like angry for being such a shitty player, like.
They have like like high, the DMD will say like high scores and stuff like that, and they'll have like X shot, like your X shot was worth like 80 million, or
and
that
like, keeps it like
it will show what it is,
Oh,
like,
that's cool.
And that's just like such an awesome moment where you just like blow up the game because you've got everything set up. Like it's so cool. It's so cool. That's just one like really good rule on it, man. But
and so like the thing about these tournament players who code these games too is they make games that are great in your home, but are also really good competitively too. So it's like how you might play it at home, it's going to differ from how you're going to play it at match play.
Well, how do you find like, I mean, as somebody who owns one, like when people come over, like how approachable is it to people who aren't like really into pinball?
Look, here's I think Kevin and I had this discussion on another podcast, and people were saying, "Oh, there's too much rules in a pinball machine." Like, there can never be enough rules in a pinball machine to me. It's how accessible is it to a player? Like, look at Medieval Madness. There's a lot of rules in that game, right? Yeah. But the obvious cool thing is hit the castle. And that's really accessible to a new person.
But is it Walking Dead has something like that? I mean,
I would say The Walking Dead. Okay, so then what's the most accessible thing if you're new is like, oh my god, if I hit the Well Walker, this big thing right in front of me, hit him up time, I get a multi-ball.
Yeah,
right.
Same with the prison.
Same with
the
prison.
Giant things.
Yeah, you got two things. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the house, or I'm gonna hit the giant zombie, and I'm gonna get a multi-ball.
It's like, I hit the doors. Look, there's a zombie.
That's
in there.
the fun, accessible thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'm gonna hit
it's
the
like
zombie.
I need to spell prison.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
And then okay, so you've catered to the beginning player on location, but then you've also solidified for the player who's going to buy and keep it at home. So I've had it since October. I've been playing this game on location since October 2014, right?
Yeah.
So it's over a year and a half.
2014.
And I still find this game interesting, and I still think like, oh man, maybe if I did this strategy or that strategy.
Yeah.
That's why I own the game, and that's why I totally recommend it to people. It's great.
It's absolutely one of Stern's best.
Whereas, like, you look at, like, I brought this up last time, throw Kiss under the bus. I know they just updated the code and hopefully it gets better, but, like, okay, there's just nothing that makes me want to have this in my home because it's just, like, a flashing shot and you hit it and that's about it. There's not much going on in that game. Yeah, man. Anyways, I'm going to just say one distinction on the rules, which is cool, on the premium versus the pro, and this increases maybe my rating for the premium, let alone some other things in there. But there's the Walker bombs, which is there's a button. You know how Stern has buttons on games? Yeah. There's a button on the premium. That button's used for like firing the crossbow, but it's also used for Walker bombs. So like when the drop targets, when they're up and they're like flashing on food, weapons, or first aid, if like you hit it when it's flashing on first aid and you knock them all down, you get a blue Walker bomb, and that spots you a prison target. So let's say you need only one more shot for prison, okay?
You can hit that?
You can hit that. So if you're drained, you hit it, and it starts it. So that way, basically, you're playing with this infinite ball save until you need it. Or the same thing with the well walker. If you hit food, you get a green well walker bomb, and if you hit it, it spots you a shot. Super cool.
So
super cool.
It takes this game that's super dangerous geometrically and gives you a little safety net. So it's like, okay, I'm free to shoot whatever the hell I want on this playfield without risk. Yeah. I know I got this in the bank.
That's a
I can come right back.
Big case for do I get a pro or premium? That's a big case, man, for the premium. I mean, I think the premium toys are cool. The spinner, the lighting, the bicycle girl, but just that rule alone changes the game. It changes the way you play it.
And that's something they came in so late in the development cycle. Yeah. Like, if you bought a game off the bat, like, you didn't know they were going to turn that button that fired the crossbow.
No.
A game-changing rule.
Lemon, man.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
And it's fun, man. It plays in the strategy.
Does the flow on... I mean, because I've played the Pro. The Pro has pretty decent flow. Mm-hmm. It seems like the flow is kind of... I mean, it's almost like Game of Thrones, where the flow in the premium is not as good as the Pro.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
Right?
Like, the left hand to hit, and it'll also lift up and
then you have the crossbow, where the crossbow takes time. It's got to load, and it's got the whatever, right?
If you're just like the kind of person who's like flow means the machine's better, or I need flow in the game, then totally you're pro. I don't buy into that. Like, flow's great, but like I don't think that makes a great game. And I like games where the ball's coming back at you a lot, and it keeps you on your toes. Like, there's not a safe shot. I mean, I've had Star Trek LE, and I feel like I get into what I call automatic pilot mode, where I'm able to kind of get the muscle memory and hit the shot and loop it and just kind of keep it going. And I'm just like I kind of like drift back when I'm playing it, like get like philosophical or zen about it. Whereas like with a John Bohr game where you hit a shot, it's gonna come right back at you. There's no slacking off, man. You slack off for a second, you're gonna get punished and you're gonna lose the ball. I don't know. That's for a homeowner and a game like that. That's just my style of play, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, obviously we all like different things in pinball, and if you're not to the level of gameplay and nudging and flipper skills where you can handle a game like that, then maybe the Pro's a better option.
And that gets us into the last criteria, which is lastability, which I think I just said how I feel about that.
Yeah,
I've been playing the game for a year and a half and love it. I've owned it since October, so we're already in May right now, and I still love it.
Same here. Like, I've been playing it on location since it's just as long as Nick has. The code got better and better and better and made it a better game ever all along. Every time I go to your house, I'm like, when it was down for a little while, I was like, damn it, there's no Walking Dead to play. It's like, it was a disappointment because I like playing it so much. Mm-hmm. But I haven't owned it, so I can't speak as much to the lastability as Nick can. But I love it. I would, if Nick didn't own it, I would own it.
I want to play it now.
Yeah.
Did they have one? Did they have one at Allentown? Didn't see one.
I don't think
there's a Walking Dead.
Weird.
Yeah, it just there's so much other. I mean, it's great that there's so many other new games that it's like you don't even.
Like Spider-Man Vault Edition.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man.
Like no line for that.
Yeah.
No, I mean I will not own one, but I do want to play one. But it's one of those things where, like I said, our Pro, it just seems like it's so drain heavy that I just don't want to put money in it. Like I would love to go to your house and spend time on it and like have you sit there and
you'd be converted, dude.
Yeah, like say, hey, look, hit this, and I have I started to like go for like Bloodbath and stuff like that, but then it's like I'm getting into it and then I lose one ball and I'm like, I'm not going to spend money on it. Like I'd rather go and play Metallica or go because they had Metallica at the same location. They have a Ghostbusters now. I'll go and drop my dollar in there. So
yeah. All right. So let's get into the final rating. And Kevin, give it a rating for Pro and Premium.
Okay.
And the rating system we use is just a 1 to 10, but you can do a 0.5, and you'll just be able to do the Pro.
You can throw it in.
Right.
And you'll have to
Premium ones.
Okay.
All right. So you want me to kick it off with the rating?
You kick it off.
The Pro, I would give that an 8.5.
Wow, that's a lot.
And the Premium, I would give a 9.
Wow.
It is right up there with the best games in pinball as far as I'm concerned. Yes, it's great.
Holy crap! What else have you given a 9 to?
Did you give any? Did you give Tron a 9?
Maybe I give Tron a 9.
You guys are right now.
I know.
I mean, like, right?
He gave Game of Thrones a 6.5, but we didn't distinguish if it was Pro or Premium. But I think you're just in the same boat for both.
Terrible.
Okay.
Game of Thrones? You don't like Game of Thrones? Even the rules and stuff
just
like
open
that?
up a ball.
It's not fun, man. It's just not fun to play. like, yeah, there's a lot of shots, and it's like, whatever. I am not compelled to play that game at all.
I'm sorry I even opened that game. All right, so you give it 8.5 and a 9 for premium.
Yep.
All right, Taylor, what do you think of what would you say is a pro? And this is coming from a location, and which is fair because a lot of people will only play this game on location.
I have a hard time knowing what like your rating scale is. Like, what's a 10?
Like,
we have not given a 10 to anything.
I don't know that there is a perfect pinball game.
Like, what kind of scores have you given?
I'm trying to think. What I rated. What did we reviewed Tron?
We reviewed Tron. I think we reviewed Tron like 9. Big Buck Hunter, what, like 7.5 or something like 8.
You guys rate stuff high.
We usually.
Until Game of Thrones
I almost go like a video game.
6.5.
Yeah, but that's still pretty high.
We've rated games that we like though so far. We're
rating stuff
like
in our
Avengers.
collection, so inevitably we're gonna like it.
I hear you. I don't know.
Except
like
for Game of Thrones, that's not in our collection.
Oh man, as I've never rated this game before, I'm trying to think of like the way I rate games. Like I rate games like I think of Dracula. Like I love Dracula's gameplay, but I don't love. No, I love Dracula. I love Dracula the game.
So think of like Vacation America as like a 1.
All right, well, I love Vacation America. I'm actually trying to pick one up. No, I would. I played on location. I found it really frustrating, like hearing you guys talk about it. And I've gotten to Bloodbath, and I've done some stuff, and I'd give it I have to go 6.5, just because I found the drains out of the pop bumpers really frustrating, and I do think that is a design flaw, and I do think that they could have done something to try to, on location, make that drain more consistent.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah,
so I can't argue with that.
Just because of that, like, if you can get into it and you can play it, and you can get deep into it, like you guys are talking about, like I could totally see like where I would elevate it if I came back and after playing it more, but like my experience it'd be like a 6.5. So it's not like Police Force.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Man, so I would give the I've never given a game 10. I would give the Pro 8.5. I think that's fair. But I would give the premium a 9.5, and I would totally give it a 10. Everything's like love. So we talk about sound, I love the gameplay, I love lastability, rules, love toys. Toys I not love, but toys are good, and like I think the toys are good. Art is like okay. I think if the art was like amazing and the toys were amazing, it would be a 10. That's the only thing, because you don't want to just hand out a 10 like that. But this game, dude, this game is my favorite game now. I think it's gonna last there for a long time, because every time I step up to play, I'm like, maybe I want to try this strategy, or what if I did this, and that makes it interesting. That makes it a keeper. It's just good. And I bought this game not a Walking Dead fan. Like I never seen the show. I just got it because I liked how it felt shot wise and stuff. And then when Lyman did his masterpiece with the rules, that was it for me. So cool, man.
So it's a 7.
I guess.
Did I lower it?
Can you math that quickly? Because I can't.
So 9, cool. 9.5 and a 7, so 18.5, 25.5 divided by 3, so it's an 8.
It is 12:30.
8.35.
Do you want to give any shout-outs before we go?
We want to give some shout-outs. So first of all, from Buffalo Pinball, we want to thank Taylor from This Flippin Podcast for joining us. This is so cool, man.
Thanks
I love listening to
it with us on Brody Even Talk.
You guys are all professional, man. Like,
oh my god, we only have 3 episodes, man. It's like, we're just starting.
We have 24, but they're the length of like 78 or something.
That's true.
That's a value, man.
Yeah.
That's value for your free
value
dollar.
for your no dollars.
Oh my god, it's just like, yeah.
But you guys are talking to Trudeau and
Tommy.
Keith Elwin.
I am on the coattails of Tommy. Like I'm like, hey Tommy, what are you doing? It's really like me interviewing Tommy at this point. Like I'm glad I'm at a show. Like I'm like I have to do something, because now it's just like, hey Tommy, what are you doing? Because I'm not doing anything. Like I'm painting my family room right now.
Are you talking to world champion Robert Gagno? Oh, no big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
yeah.
But
do you have any shout outs? Yeah.
I would like to shout out. Well, it was great meeting you guys. It was great coming to Allentown and meeting like Stash Kid and seeing people I've seen around. I'll give a shout out to all the people who bring games, who take their times to
seriously
go home, pack up a game, load it up into their car, drive through the rain, unload it, move it into a place, set it up, get it so it's playing well, and then deal with the game playing well at a show or a tournament, and then packing it back up and taking it home.
Yep.
Holy crap.
I would never do that. I would never. I'm selfish, man. I want to move games.
It's a lot of work, man.
I've done it for tournaments, and like I've put like games like in galleries, like a friend was having an art show and stuff like that. But like coming to a show like Allentown, which is a huge show, and like there's so many shows now. And the reason those shows exist is because hobbyists are willing to like bust their asses to share their games with other people. So I'll give a shout out to all the people who are willing to do that because it's awesome and it makes shows like this awesome.
Yeah,
so,
very cool.
100% seconded. Also, a couple of little shout outs to people I met today, like Double Danger Pinball. They were great. You talk about somebody with great customer service. Like, I bought a shirt from them and it was too big, and he's like, just bring it to Allentown and I'll swap it for you. He's like, I want one for myself anyways.
Those guys are great.
And he like threw me he's like, here, have a bag and a couple stickers, and it's like, this is how business should be.
This is double dangerous customer service. So I went up, so they were letting me charge my phone, like in their booth. So like they've got like, I go up and I plug my phone in, and he's like, oh, I've got a portable charger. Just take it, and you can charge your phone, and that way you have your phone with you.
That was the thing too.
Like what? Like, all right.
Like, I walked up to the booth. He's like, "Do you have the shirt?" And I go, "Yeah, it's on my car. I'll grab it and bring it in later." He's like, "Here, just take it.
Yeah,
take the new size shirt, and when you bring in the shirt, that's fine."
Yeah. Those guys are awesome.
You guys are good. We love it.
Cool,
Stash Kid was cool to meet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna forget everybody I met, but thanks to everybody who brought out games, like you said, all the vendors who bring all this gear out. Like, I know they're making money, but it's a ridiculous amount of work. So
a lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man. So I think we shout out. So Lee from Pinball Supernova.
Yeah,
thanks for the shirts.
Pinball Supernova.
Thanks for Pinball Supernova has been nice enough to retweet. God, I can't talk tonight. A lot of when we're broadcasting and things like what's going on. So a lot of people probably heard about us from Pinball Supernova, which is totally cool.
He's great.
Met Stash Kid as well. Super cool guy. Check out his Twitch streams. He's doing it like pretty much every day. He's crazy. And then all the folks who took the time to run today's tournament, despite any hiccups, you gave up your Friday afternoon. You took off a day from work, to make sure that we can come by and compete, which is awesome, man. So thanks for taking the time to do that. There's a lot of work and a lot of stress involved with people who are heated and get pissed off sometimes.
Yeah. We analyze and criticize because we care. If we didn't care,
and that's what it comes down to, man. It's caring. How do you make it better?
Right.
It's all community.
We run tournaments, so we know it's like a thankless job. And
it sucks, man.
Yeah,
it does.
It's a lot of work, but it is. It's like it's hard to hear that, like, when you're in the moment, like, and somebody's like, oh, this sucks. Because you're just like, I'm busting my ass to do this. But then at the same time, it's like, you do, like, when you run, it's a lot of work. It's all a lot of work.
Yep.
It's a lot of work. Like,
it's a ton of work.
If you can show up somewhere and, like, do something and it runs flawlessly, like, I think a Pinburg blows my mind.
It's crazy, man.
It's not only the day of stuff, it's all the pre-promotion and setting the stage and everything, too. So it's huge.
Well, cool, guys. Thanks for joining us again. This is our Buffalo Pinball's fourth?
Third official, fourth
official.
Fourth and final.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Taylor was here to see us off into the win. Check us out on all the social medias. You can visit buffalopinball.com/podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube and you'd rather listen in your car or whatever, you can subscribe. We put it out as an audio.
If for some crazy reason you're only listening to Buffalo Pinball's podcast, check out This Flippin Podcast because they do an awesome job. And my favorite episode is when they interview the folks from Buffalo Pinball.
Yeah, so
that's great.
We talk about. We talk about, watching Twitch streams in bathtubs.
Was that the one where I got really drunk? And I know that wasn't that one.
That was every other one.
Yeah. I can't, remember what I talked about. And then if people approach me and go, oh, yeah, when you were talking, and I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you ever talk to Taylor or Tommy, just make sure you forget their names because they love that.
Yeah. And mention that I'm old.
Yeah, he likes that too.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Peace out.